Hey, good morning, guys. It's day after July 4th, Independence Day. I hope everybody's doing well and y'all had a little bit of time to maybe enjoy some barbecue, maybe some fireworks. But I've been kind of thinking for the last week or two, and I need some ideas as far as videos go. I've covered a lot of technical videos. I know there's still a few products out there that we could test on the bench and show you how to disassemble them, maybe how to do some simple repairs and adjustments. But this morning what I want to concentrate on is, and it seems like there's a lot of people selling vending routes. I see it every day on Facebook Marketplace, in our vending classified groups. Lots and lots of equipment for sale. Now guys, a vending route is a business that has a truck, it has moving equipment, it has coin counting equipment. In other words, it's established. It has, and I don't mean 5 machines. You know, I see a lot of times people selling a vending business that's got 7 machines. Keep in mind, guys, you would be hard-pressed to make any kind of a decent living if you had less than one route, which is 80 machines. And the reason it's considered 80 machines is, and this is going to vary, it could be 60, it could be 100. This is what one man can service in a 40-hour work week, or one lady. Don't want to leave you ladies out. We have a lot of lady vendors, and I think most of you lady vendors probably work as hard, if not harder, than the men. But a route is, let's just say average, let's say it's 40 locations. You have a soda and snack in every one. You know, that's one route. And whether you make $40,000 a year off that route, or maybe $60,000, you can't really expect a lot more. We don't have spots where we have the lunch rooms in the big mail order companies or the .com companies. So everybody has their idea of what a vending business, a vending route is worth. So I'm only going to tell you what I know and what I have experienced firsthand. Usually people don't know what they're worth, and they're asking an absorbent amount of money. And if you do the math, sometimes you work for 5, and I've even seen prices as high as you work for 10 years for free. What do you have in 10 years when you've already bought equipment that's 10 to 20 years old? Now you've got 30-year-old equipment that probably needs to be updated. So anyways, first things first, this was and I don't want to say one-man operation, but I had a good customer in Reno. They sold out, it's been 6-8 years ago, and they were a daily customer. We did a lot of their service in the field for them. This was a couple that worked it, and they had 2 trucks, 2 routes, roughly 160 machines on location. So it was a 4-person business. Like I said, 2 drivers, the owner, the wife. She was probably the most important person in the company. And here's another thing: she was in charge of account PR. In other words, she would visit these people. How many of you guys go out and service, or send a route man, and you never go to the location yourself? When I used to have service people, I would do the money collecting. In other words, they would go out and fill week in, week out. But most of the time I would go out there and I would collect the money. This had nothing to do with security. They always had full access to the money. We didn't have locking cash boxes, locking validators, but this is because I wanted to make my presence to the manager, to the owner of the company. I wanted to say hi. How are my route people doing? Any changes need to be made, because they would see you. If they never see the owner, they wonder who it is. They don't even know who owns the company at some point. But anyways, getting back to this 2-route business, okay? They grossed $450,000, and this was in about 2014 is when they sold. So they grossed $450,000. Now a lot of people say, 80 to 100%. plus the equipment value, there's no way. What stuck to the owners on this $450,000 business at the end of the year after taxes was roughly $140,000 to $150,000. Okay? Once again, I'm going to get some backlash from this, but the vending business is a service business. This is documented. You go to any business broker, you are classified as a service business. I don't care how many vending machines you have, how many trucks you have. I always compare it with a janitorial business. You have employees, you have trucks, you have equipment, and that equipment for janitorial businesses, you start doing floors and things, that stuff's not cheap. So it falls in line with what is considered a service business. So this man that sold his business finally, he ran it close to 20 years and decided to semi-retire and do something a little slower pace. He sold it for, after commissions, after broker commissions, he got $400,000 on an excellent business. He had, I'd say probably 50% contracted accounts. They were all long established. I don't think he had an account that was less than 5 years old, and some of them were 10 and 15, and some of them he acquired when he bought the business 20 years ago. So long established. This is not something a guy developed in 6 months or a year and then decided to sell. He had a warehouse facility. He had 3 trucks. 2 of them were for the route. 1 of them was for going to the warehouse stores to pick up product that wasn't delivered to them. And so this is kind of what you can figure. Now, there's a lot of exceptions to this rule, okay? There was a route, major metropolitan area, Northern California, and this again has been, I think, 8 or 10 years ago, and it went up for sale. This was a business that was losing money, okay? They were losing $1 million a year in operating this big company. The equipment value exceeded what the business would ever be worth. So what they did is they put everything up for sale. They put all the equipment up for sale. They put the business up for sale. Somebody came in, and this was a $5 million a year business. Somebody came in and bought everything. It was actually a liquidator that bought it. They bought everything for $1 million, okay? That's 20% of the annual gross. However, keep in mind, this was losing money. So what they did is they liquidated probably 80% of the equipment. We bought a ton of it. They had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of equipment. We bought our fair share, and the few accounts that were worthy and that were actually making money, they sold off to another one of the big chains. So they picked it apart. But keep in mind, $5 million in annual sales, and it was losing $1 million a year. Now, whether it was poor management, or just crummy locations, I think it had a combination of both. There was probably some theft going on. But they're all over the map. I've had some customers when I was in Reno, they've sold their businesses 120% of the annual gross. Now, the annual gross and what sticks to the customer, that's considered the net. Gross is what comes in, what goes through the machines and you put in the bank and you buy your product out of and you pay your employees out of. But I've also seen some sell for 50 and 60% of annual gross. So figure it out. My friend up there in Reno sold out for roughly $450,000. Well, he got basically 100% of the annual gross. Keep in mind, contracts, excellent equipment, long established business. This is well worth 100% of the gross. Is it worth 120? Probably not. You'd probably have to work 3 years before you saw, the return on your money. And there's easier ways to make money than vending businesses. You can get a return quicker. But a fire sale, would it have been 75% of the gross, which would have brought it down to, let's just, without fact checking me, let's say $60,000, somewhere around there. That would be 75%. That would be a great deal. Did he sell it for cash? Majority was cash. He took back a second on part of it, which, you're always gambling when you do that. Luckily for him, he sold to one of the employees, one of the route men. They still have it. and they did pay them off. So keep that in mind too when you're selling. You get too big, it's hard to sell for cash. People don't have 500,000 laying around. Now, you sell a little small garage-based business that's got 10 machines for $4,000 or $5,000. Pretty easy for people to come up with that. So, anyways, guys, keep in mind. I see these percentages, people saying that they're worth this and that all over the map. If you have any question and your business is at least 150,000 a year in gross, which is not much, guys. That's just not much for a business. Contact a business broker. They won't list things that don't make money and are not within the parameters. In other words, if you want, let's say your net was $100,000, okay? They're going to tell you your business is worth $250,000 because of $100,000 stuck. But if you want $500,000 and you only made $100,000, guess what? Those business brokers aren't going to waste their time because they know they can't sell it. So, anyways, guys, keep this in mind. Comments. This brings out the best in people. Don't start off with saying you're dead wrong. I know there's variables. I am only telling you exactly what I know. Last point, a huge company out of Texas went through my area up in Reno, and they bought about 5 of the businesses out. Vending companies. They bought basically everybody but a couple. And through the back door, my understanding is they paid about 70 to 75% of the annual gross. And a lot of those, the 2 biggest companies up there, they had a lot of older equipment. Now, long established accounts, crappy old equipment. Most of it was non-credit card worthy, non-guaranteed delivery, snacks and sodas. So keep in mind, guys, they did pay 75% of the annual gross, but they got routes that really needed to be updated. So anyways, take that with a grain of salt, guys. I always appreciate you watching, and if you have ideas for different videos, we're more than happy to help, and hope everybody had a good, safe 4th of July holiday. For now, Doug at Doug's World Tour. I'm out.